I think it's time, 6 o'clock. Welcome everybody here in the council chamber, and if we have anyone online, welcome them here as well. Today's the Payson City Council meeting for February 15th, 2023. The time is 6 o'clock. I will go ahead and open this meeting with prayer. Our Father in heaven, as we come before this time, we are thankful for the many blessings, including the moisture that we've had. We do need that moisture desperately, and we're so very thankful that we have it. Please help the spring that's coming, that it will not warm too fast and cause the moisture we have to come down and flood. So please help us during the spring, Father. Help us as we make decisions for this city, that we may do so with keeping in mind all the responsibilities that we have. Thankful for this community, this state, and our country, and say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. I'd ask Council Linda Carter to lead us in the pledge.
If you'll all stand and repeat after me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Linda. Okay, we'll go on to the consent agenda. Number one, approval of the February 1st, 2023 City Council minutes. Number two, resolution development agreement for Springside Meadows, Plat P, located east of Main Street between 1600 South and 1800 South. Number three, ordinance amendment to Payson City Code Title 2.44, establishing a records access and management program. And number four, resolution amended consulting agreements with Legislative Executive Consulting, LLC, and GTC Consulting Incorporated. Unless there's any discussion, council, I'm ready for a motion.
I move we approve the consent agenda as outlined by the mayor.
Okay, we have a motion in second, roll call votes, starting with, I believe, Bob Prosgard's online. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to start with you, Bob.
Yes.
Council Hyatt,
Yes.
Council Carter,
Yes.
Council Beecher,
Yes.
Council Christensen.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you. We'll move on to petitions, and we'll open a public forum. Anyone can speak items that are not on the agenda, and please limit your comments to around 3 minutes or so, and we'll go to that point. Open a public forum. Not seeing anybody in the council chamber. It's taking advantage of that. Do we have anybody online? I'll go ahead and close the public forum. We'll move on to staff reports. Any staff that would like to come and talk with us? Guess you're elected, Dave.
I will, Mayor and Council. Just a reminder, we do have a council retreat next weekend, Friday and Saturday. We've got all things set for you. It's at the Zermatt up in Wasatch County. And so plan on you being there. Should be good. Your partners are welcome to come too. And we have dinner that night, and then breakfast in the morning and lunch at noon. And at noon we'll be done. We can head back home. So hopefully we can talk a lot about budget and priorities and things we need to cover for getting ready for the next fiscal year budget. It comes fast. So
What do we,
Send that out, that information.
what's that?
To send the information out, where it's at, what time.
Yeah, we'll send you another email out,
So
and
we can all leave together.
you can do that if you want. But yeah, I'll send with more information, a kind of a proposed agenda of how we're going to run the meetings. And anyway, appreciate your willingness to be there and talk with us. Thanks.
Any other staff? Not seeing any. We'll move on to the council reports, starting with Council Christensen.
All right. Well, I had the wonderful opportunity to visit our city landfill once again. And it's so good out there. I stopped and was talking to the man in the scale house and just getting to know them, and that they just what they deal with, and we're grateful for them and what they do. But I also had brought up the possibility of the recycling situation. Just wonder if we need to get with waste management and see if that's something that maybe we can work towards. My idea was to provide dumpsters on the top side after the scales, so you can go up there, and instead of throwing your garbage in the landfill, you can recycle it at that point in time. We just need to do a cost analysis and see if that's a viable option. Talking to the people up there, they felt like it would work with the new scale house. So I drove up to look at the new scale house, and it looks amazing. It looks like it should. 3 or 4 scales there, get traffic in and out a lot faster than what they've been able to do in the past. And it'll be nice to make those changes. Nice big wide road that gets us off the main thoroughfare. Those problems that you have on free dump week, I think we can nip most of those in the bud, which is great. I'm super excited for that. But just would like to see that maybe move forward. As we come time to renew our waste management contract, we can look at other options as well, if that's not the best way to go. So, okay.
Are you talking about different dumpsters for different types of material? Because we do one for
We do one for metals, but I'm talking like your cardboard, your plastics, your glass, things that you typically would put in the recycling bins, the blue cans on the side of the road. So instead of having them come around and pick it up everywhere, they would just, we could switch it to that. I know our enrollment's way low, and just something to reevaluate and see if that might be a better way to go. They'd cut us a better price at hauling it out of there, and it would save stuff going into our landfill. It's more for the environmentally conscious people that are going to take the time and effort. I just know that new neighbors moved in and they asked around. They ended up having to take cardboard all the way to Provo to find a place to recycle it because they weren't set up and couldn't get rid of their boxes. And so I just think that we could come up with something better than that. So that's all.
Okay, thank you. Kirk.
I just gave Dave some updated water efficiency standards that Central Utah has published just this last year. And in there is a section that would be wise to have in our code, if it isn't already in our code, to ensure that our citizens can take advantage of some of the rebates the state's doing on turf and that kind of stuff. So
Okay. Some of our staff can take a look at and then implement. Okay, bring us later maybe. Okay,
that's it.
okay. Linda.
I really don't have anything other than I'm so thankful for all of the workers and what they do. When Brett mentioned the landfill, the last trip I made out there by myself, I worked hard to get it covered before I went out, and got through and got up there, and I can't remember who the young man was that was driving one of the big machines, but he waved at me, parked it, got out, came, and he dumped everything out of my truck. And I was so thankful. So those guys are so nice and work hard. And I really appreciate all of the staff for working like they do. So thank you.
Thanks, Linda. Teresa.
I had somebody approach me today and I couldn't answer this. Do we have procedures in place for a natural disaster? I mean, is there a place for people?
That would be the fire chief and police chief, mainly the fire chief with that. I believe we do.
Yeah, we do have emergency protocols and stuff.
So where do I have people go to see what they would do?
We can send you what we have as far as ordinance or. But I know they work with the different ecclesiastical organizations.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll have Scott send you what we have.
We participate in the national shakeout. We've done that before. It's in conjunction with the
Put your
church.
ring thing in your window?
Yeah, we've done that before. And then Chief Spencer has been vocal in that as well. then we have, that's the CERT program. I think the pandemic kind of put a hole in that, but I think he's getting back into that program. So
There is an emergency protocol we have and how the mayor fits in, the council, the manager.
Yeah, I would like to know that too.
good. Okay, Bob, you got something for us?
Yeah, Teresa, while we speak, I know that Chief Spencer is up at the fire station training a couple wards in disaster preparedness right now.
Yep.
My ward happens to be one of those, and he is pushing to get as many of the
This whole month.
wards that are organized, in neighborhoods and what have you to do the disaster preparedness with the lists of equipment and need of help and everything else. That's what he's training on tonight. So I do know the chief's well underway with that again. And then the only other thing I had is I wanted to give a shout out to Mayor Wright. Bill is available whenever you need to talk to him. He's at the state legislature. He's everywhere. And I'm
Thank you.
grateful that we've got a mayor that has interest in just not a few things, but all things. And I received a comment the other day from one of the other council members that said, your mayor is so dedicated to be to meetings. And I think that's a great shout out that the mayor really is enjoying his job and doing a great job. So I just want to say thank you, Mayor, for spending the time to know the issues and know what's going on.
Well, thank you, Bob. Appreciate that. Okay, we're done with council reports. We'll move on to action items.
Mayor,
Yes,
one other thing I
Okay.
forgot.
I thought you were going to give an update, but I did send out an email about the mid-year meetings for the Utah League of Cities and Towns down in St. George, and I've had a couple say they wanted to go, but it is on April 19th, 2021, but the 19th is a scheduled city council meeting. I know last year we had enough council members go down that we canceled the meeting, and we may have that same issue this year. So I guess I'm proposing to cancel that second meeting in April if enough of you are planning on going down. So any thoughts, or if you want to have a meeting, we have to have at least 3 people here to have a meeting.
Are you going or staying, Linda?
Right.
I think last time we canceled it, we did have that back.
Anyway, you don't need to tell me now, but if you end up going, we'll probably end up canceling that second meeting in
3 of the
April.
6 of us are definitely going. so.
I know 3 of you are going. So
And is Bob gonna be here?
I'm not sure if Bob and Linda and Teresa are here, we can have the meeting, because you have to have 3 of you here in this building. We can put the others electronically, but we need the 3 here.
Let's cancel
I am not planning on going to St. George. I can make myself available. I have another responsibility, Dave, that you're aware of. But I will be available to be in council chambers for at least that couple hours.
Okay. So yeah, just let me know, Linda and Teresa, if you want to go down. If you don't, we can still have the meeting, but just wanted to make sure.
I
Thanks.
think the option of canceling would be a good option, but
I do too. It's good to have the mayor in present.
okay, then we'll move on to action item, public hearing / ordinance vacation of the 15-foot sewer easement in the SX3 subdivision plat A lot 2. Jill?
Okay, this may look familiar, but there's one adjustment that we need to make before this plat can be recorded. So let me just go over that real quick. Thanks, Mayor, for the introduction. So the SX3 subdivision is located about 1500 west, 800 south in Payson. So you've got 800 south that's here. You've got the Wendy's 7-Eleven that's located on the site here. So that orients. Business Park is to the north, Red Bridge is to the west. So at our last meeting, it was requested that you approve a plat amendment to combine these 2 parcels in the SX3 subdivision for the Jones Paint and Glass retail site. So the council did approve for these two lots to be combined and for this public utility easement in the center of those lots to be eliminated. However, there's a sewer line or a sewer easement that crosses one of these lots in the subdivision. So I've highlighted in green where the sewer line goes. The sewer line is here that provides service for the Freedom Vapors building for a new development proposed here, and then it continues and goes through lot number 2 right there. So this is the plat that probably looks familiar to you. This was in your packet last time. This is showing those two parcels combined and where the new public utility easements will be on the site to provide sewer and other utilities and access on the site for Jones Paint and Glass. So it is proposed that we eliminate the portion of the sewer easement that goes through one of those lots that is no longer needed. It's actually rerouted through this, through the property. But we failed to include that as part of the motion at the last meeting. And so we want to be very specific of which adjustments or which amendments were made. So staff is requesting that the city council approve the vacation of the 15-foot sewer easement that traverses that lot in the SX3 subdivision.
There's another easement on the original plat. Is it still valid?
So for the
tunnel.
tunnel, it has been vacated by
okay.
When the ownership changed, the other parties worked together to.
Okay,
to
but on the
vacate
original plat,
that.
it was on there, and that's
Yeah.
why I was asking.
Yeah, and so it will be done by, there's another agreement
Okay,
that has been prepared to eliminate. That was not easement or wasn't utility based, and Utah code requires this process when it is
But
in
it
regard
is
to
an easement on the
municipal
recorded
easements
plat.
or public utility easements, but yeah, but that will be eliminated by another document.
Okay. Then if you're through with that presentation, Jill, I'll go
Yeah.
ahead and accept the motion for open a public hearing.
So-
Second.
Okay, we have a motion been seconded. Roll call vote, starting with Council Christensen,
Yes.
Council Beecher,
Yes.
Council Carter,
Yes.
Council Hyatt.
Yes.
And Council Proscar.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. We'll open a public hearing. Please, if you would like to comment, step to the mic, state your name and speak clearly. And try to limit your comments in the interest of time, and whether you agree or disagree with the comments that have been made by our staff presentation. So we'll go ahead and open. Public hearing. Not seeing anybody that's want to take advantage of it here. I'll turn to Kim. Is there anybody online? Okay, I'll accept a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Okay, since we have a motion been seconded, and since we have a council that's not here, we're going to have to do all these required roll call votes. So starting with Council Proscar,
Yes.
Council Hyatt,
Yes.
Council Carter,
Yes.
Council Beecher,
yes.
Council Christensen.
Yes.
Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Any council discussion on the presentation?
No, I think I would misunderstood this last time. I thought this was out at their big site. I didn't know they were doing 2 sites in town. So
Yeah,
that's,
they'll have their manufacturing facility in the business park,
That's
and then
good
this
to
is a
know.
retail store that will be there along 800
Yeah.
South.
so, okay. Yeah,
Okay.
it looks good. I mean, you got to get it out and around wherever you've got to. So
Believe we're ready for a motion then.
I'll make a motion that we vacate the 15-foot sewer easement in the SX3 subdivision plat A lot 2.
Second it.
Okay, we have a motion and seconded. Again, roll call vote. Council Proscar,
Yes.
Council Hyatt,
Yeah.
Council Carter,
Yes.
Council Beecher,
Yes.
Council Christensen.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Motion carries. Guess you're up again. Number 2, amendments to the Payson Business Park Plat G. Go ahead, Jill.
So just going a little north into the business park, this is a request to dedicate property or to accept dedication of property for additional right of way along American Way. So to orient, so you've got American Way here, you have the new road that's being constructed here that will connect with Utah Avenue. Utah Avenue is probably actually up here on the page. The Jones Paint and Glass manufacturing facility is actually to be constructed in this location here. This is west of Plunder Just to orient everybody, the Plunder Jewelry Building is located here. So we do have an application in for a site plan for a multi-tenant, actually, let me go. So I've got it here. So site plan applications in for a 16-unit multi-tenant multi-tenant building that's proposed on this. As they were working through all the site plan issues, recognizing that we do have a certain, the street requirement, as well as the installation of a 10-foot trail along this side of American Way. There is a need to dedicate an additional 4 feet to Payson City. So it equates to, for the frontage of the parcel along American Way, it's 1,059 square feet that is proposed to be dedicated to the city. Everything else is consistent. Public utility easements are consistent with the original plat G. They are just proposing to amend to dedicate the additional 1,500 or 59 square feet to Payson City that would accommodate the full right of way of the street, curb gutter, the planter, and the 10-foot trail.
Okay, thank you, Jill. Any council discussion on the amendment?
So they will put the 10-foot trail in as
They
well.
will
as
put
part
the
of-
10-foot
Okay,
trail in as part of their site improvements.
hey, that'll be a nice asset down there.
Okay. Ready to accept the motion if there's no further discussion.
I move that we approve the amendments to the Payson Business Park Plat G as outlined.
I'll second that.
Okay, we've got a motion, been seconded, roll call vote, starting with Council Christensen,
Yes.
Council Beecher,
Yes.
Council Carter,
Yes.
Council Hyatt,
Yes.
Council Proscar.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Moving on. Number 3, reconsideration ordinance, One Properties LLC, Springs at Spring Lake, zone change from A5H annexation holding zone to R115 residential zone at approximately 12-240 south, 500 west. Robert.
Thank you, Council Mayor. First of all, I just want to recognize that Michael Bryant, our planner, generally would be here. His father passed away last week, and so our thoughts and prayers are with him. Which means you have the unfortunate experience of having me. But I just kind of want to go through this quickly. The reason that we're doing this is because the last time that you considered this application, there was a motion that was made, but did not move forward. There was some concern about the timeliness of the application. And since that time, the applicant has provided some additional information. So let me catch you up a little bit. Move this a little bit. So in the December meeting, again, that decision was made. And tonight's request is just to consider that additional information and see what the council's prerogative is now. Just as a reminder, this is the Springs at Spring Lake zone change and subdivision request. In this photo right down here, just to orient, this Highway 198 headed towards Santaquin. This is Spring Lake, the lake itself. This is 12240 south. And the applicant's property was annexed last year. And then this is the proposed layout that's been considered. These are, again, the details of this project. I can answer anything, but I think that we're all pretty familiar with this application. This was the direction from the Planning Commission initially. The applicant has gone through those steps and addressed all of these different things. And then there's a few more that we'll talk about in just a minute. This was a letter from Utah County that the applicant received allowing access onto 12240 south because that is a county road, not a city road. So the meat and potatoes. A trip generation study was conducted for this proposed development. The counts were performed on a Thursday evening in January. That consultant determined that the peak hour of 4:45 to 5:45 would provide the best window of information for this traffic study. During that time, 16 vehicles were observed on 12240 South during that entire time. As the consultant took all of that traffic count information, they calculated that the proposed development would generate approximately 344 new trips on the average weekday. In a 24-hour period, these 31 homes are going to generate about 344 new trips. It's important to note that 26 of those are in the morning peak hour, 34 of those are during the evening peak hour, and that's for all roads within the vicinity. That's not just 12240 South. That's all of the roads that are going to be utilized by the residents of this proposed development. They further calculated specifically that 12240 South would gain approximately 12 new trips during the evening peak hour for a total of about 28 for the entire hour. And that equates to about one vehicle every 2.1 minutes. These are small numbers, just to be very clear and blunt. These are very, very small numbers. And then the findings of this report, based on the new trip generation and estimated trip assignment, 12240 South has sufficient width to handle the project traffic. I wanted to call particular attention to this exhibit, this figure that was in the report. And hopefully you all had a chance to review that in your packet. But this shows what the anticipated direction of that traffic is going to be and where it's going to be utilized. So during that evening peak hour, this is where you have 5 trips that are coming out onto 12240 South, and they're anticipating that 7 trips are going to be on 12240 South coming into the development. That's where you get that 12 number. That's at the south end utilizing 12240. But when you look up here onto 1900 South, you have 14 coming in, 8 going out. So the majority of the trips accumulating in this development are actually headed north, are using this north entrance, utilizing 1900 South, which has direct connection to Highway 198, and then into 5th West and into the proposed development. This was actually really good for me. It was validating for me because I am not a traffic engineer whatsoever, but this is kind of what we had anticipated. So the other thing that I wanted to bring up tonight was a specific request by one of the members of the Spring Lake community, constantly looking at the impacts and what could happen. Previously, there was a request to maybe look at the possibility of, instead of coming out onto 12240 South, that this would essentially turn into a horseshoe down here, and then this 5th West would turn into a horseshoe and connect again to 1900 South. That had some specific challenges from a staff point of view. This is going to be the proposed new fire station on 1900 South and a park there that is associated with the Springside Meadows development. That park area was dedicated to the city for a park. And the request was to actually look at the possibility of maybe moving this park space from here to this area down here in the proposed development. And then maybe allowing for some additional lots along here. And then there would be no connection to 12240 South. Staff, Jill specifically, because she is the keeper of all information, my right-hand person, looked into this, and there are some specific requirements in our agreements, both in the annexation agreement and the development agreements for Springside Meadows, that makes this park necessary to be in that development to satisfy open space and amenity requirements. And just functionally, this does not work. We're relying on kind of this setup symbiotically to help the fire department when they're doing training to use that park space. and then vice versa for overflow parking and things like that. The way it's set up currently actually works very well. The possibility of putting a road with additional houses through there creates some challenges. So I just wanted to make sure that that was brought out, that we have looked at all of these different possibilities. Unfortunately, this is not a feasible one. So at this point, really what the council needs to consider is, last time you made some findings of the untimeliness of the zone change at that time based on some information that was needed, some additional information that was needed for 12240 South. The applicant has gone back, provided additional information. And so now staff is recommending that there is new findings to be made, that 12240 South is actually compatible and can accommodate that additional traffic that the proposed development would create. And so our recommendation is to still rezone the property to R115, which are a minimum of 15,000 square foot lots, and then to approve the preliminary subdivision. And so at this point, if you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to help. The applicant is also here, could probably answer some questions, but yeah, that's my presentation.
Robert, I have a question.
Yes.
You stated that you weren't a traffic engineer.
Nope, never
Can you
will be.
tell me who the traffic engineer was that come up with this
Absolutely.
study?
It was Hales Engineering.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, unless there's any further council discussion, I'm ready for a motion.
I move that we approve the change in the zone change from A5H to R115 for this development, finding that the traffic study indicated that there would not be a major additional load and on 12240, and 12240 would handle the additional load of what it would be, and we progress this forward.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and seconded. Again, a roll call vote, starting with Council Christensen,
Yes.
Council Beecher,
Yes.
Council Carter,
Yes.
Council Hyatt,
Yes.
Council Proscard.
No,
Okay, thank you. Motion carries. We'll move on to number 4.
Yeah, for this one, we just need a motion as well.
can we have a discussion?
On
first?
this one though, can we go back to that plat? Do you have the preliminary plan? Like, it just doesn't work. I'd love to see a straighter road to connect those in, but maybe there'll be one up farther, but with the properties the way they are, it just it doesn't work. I'd still like to see more of a grid system. I mean, they are straight roads, but you get what I'm trying to say. Thoroughfares and through streets and.
You're talking about the cul-de-sac.
No, the
No, no.
cul-de-sac doesn't bother me.
He's
It's-
talking on the right-hand side
Yeah.
where they're,
Going up to 500?
Yeah,
500
well-
and 550.
When I was looking at it and the thought process started, I was thinking that road was the one that came all the way out, but it actually goes up and then over 2 blocks and then back out.
Yeah.
But so to knock the one corner off, it would have worked, but where you've got that big lot down there in the bottom right-hand corner, which probably has an existing house or something on it, I'm assuming.
Right down here.
No, the one to the left, that one,
Yes, that has an existing home that
Yeah.
will remain.
on that nice big lot.
Mhm.
How big is that?
It's a nice big one.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Is that
It would not be a bad place to live overlooking that pond right there, that's for sure.
It's a little over an acre. right?
Yeah, it's good size. Yeah.
Okay,
Mayor, I do have one more
okay,
comment,
go ahead, Bob.
if I may.
You bet.
We reminded it back to the staff last time. And the time before, we asked that we come up with something different than 12240. We come up with a traffic study, which I think is definitely flawed, and would like to go on record to say that I believe that traffic study does not take into account the people that will use that road to go through and get to a quicker school drop off for their kids in the mornings and pick up in the afternoon. It's just human nature. Once there's a road in, which puts a lot more traffic, I believe, through the residential neighborhoods instead of going up to, I believe, 1900. And so I want to go on record of saying, I think outside of the traffic study, nothing else has changed on this for months and months that we've looked at it. And I'm not standing on a principle here. I'm standing on, we're talking about saving some ground where the proposed new park is going for the betterment of a park that Payson City is going to have, when we already have a park down by the pond that we're going to pretty well make a busier street next to a park that we're trying to enhance and make better by dredging the pond and putting picnic tables and inviting all citizens to enjoy.
Okay, let's appreciate those comments, Bob. If there's not any further, I'll move to a motion.
Can I say something?
You
about
bet,
the
please.
proposed park?
You bet.
There are a lot of kids in that subdivision. I mean, it's huge. And you don't just have the 30-acre houses, you have the townhomes too. So to me, I feel that there needs to be a park there. I mean, I know we want to do the one down by Spring Lake, and I think we need to do both of them, but that one is close enough where all those kids could come down there and play. And when I say there's a lot of kids, there's a lot of kids there.
It's a young neighborhood. Well, we had also talked at one point in time about a bicycle park when we had done the Hancock Trail, and this was one spot that we had looked at, that may be something along the lines down the road is what they might do. What they would use it for is fire department may not justify using it that way, but I think the bicycle park would be a great option right there.
It gives us some options.
Yeah, it does. And I don't think it's specific just to that community, and it's a big chunk of prime real estate to have donated that direction. I don't know who has to pay to develop it, but nonetheless, it's all part of life, but.
Okay,
It seemed like we looked at the bike park with PEC engineering. It seemed like there were a few challenges, but I have to go back and look at their plan. But we can look at that.
Yeah.
When we get to that point and we're discussing that part.
Yeah, absolutely.
okay, I'm ready for a motion if there's no other comments.
I move we approve the preliminary plan for Springs at Spring Lake, as Robert indicated, and go from there.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion been seconded. We'll start the roll call vote with Council Christensen,
Yes.
Council Beecher,
Yes.
Council Carter,
Yes.
Council Hyatt,
Yes.
Council Proscard.
No.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you.
There's one more item on the agenda, and that's to adjourn. So I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We're adjourned.